Hey beautiful people, this is Max Rosenkrantz coming at you with a recap video of the workshop that I teach called How to Have High Stakes Conversations. You can find me at coachmaximum.com or shoot me an email at hello@coachmaximum.com. Let's dive in because this one is a big and important topic. I'll be covering the 3 high-level areas that we focus on in the workshop, and those are the logistics of how to have a high-stakes conversation. That's part 1. Part 2 is how to be skillful in our delivery of high-stakes communications. And part 3 is how to be skillful in receiving high-stakes communications. These skills are going to make your relationships flourish and your relationships become much more efficient and productive and much richer and more meaningful. And when all of that happens, you're able to get more of what's important done with more ease, more flow, and more joy. That's what I'm all about. Upgrading your leadership skills so you can have more ease and more flow and more joy. So let's jump right into the logistics. Bulleted list. Who do you need to have a high-stakes conversation with? What is it about? What's an example that illustrates clearly what's going on? How long has it been going on? What's your component in the challenge here? What can you take ownership as something that you're doing that's not contributing to this being a good situation? And finally, make a commitment on when you're going to have this conversation by. Because all of the content of this workshop is for nothing if you don't actually put it into practice. So that's the logistics. Second part, being skillful in our delivery. Being skillful in our delivery comes down to one main ingredient, which is taking radical responsibility and ownership for what's going on for us. That means using I language and using emotions to describe our experience, emotion words. This is really critical, that we use real emotions as opposed to projections of what the other person is doing. So very fast example on this is, let's say your boss cuts you off in a meeting. Hey boss, you cutting me off in the meeting? You're such a jerk. That's not an emotion, and it's not about you. It's not I language. The more skillful way to do this would be say, hey boss, when you cut me off in the meeting, I feel angry. And then underneath the anger, I feel scared or sad, or I feel unimportant. And further, the impact on me is that I find it difficult to concentrate for the rest of the day after that happens. That's all skillful, and it's all about me. It's not about your boss. It's about you. So that's the first part of the conversation, is initiating and giving feedback and high-stakes communications. The second part is receiving. Receiving in a skillful way. Delivering in a skillful way is about taking ownership of your own experience and the impacts on you. Receiving in a skillful way is all about de-escalation and creating the space for the person to be skillful or unskillful. So let's flip the example around. You're now the boss and someone comes to you and they say, hey, you're such a jerk, you keep cutting me off in meetings, that's bad leadership and you shouldn't do that. And it's all negative and it's all about you. They're not making it about themselves. They're not talking about their experience. They're putting it on you. Now, our natural human instinct, our animal instinct here is to get defensive. Someone is attacking us, our natural instinct is to defend. Totally normal, totally natural. Not at all what really good leaders do. What really good leaders do is they create the space for this conversation to de-escalate and get into the richer, more fruitful terrain. And how do they do that? Well, they do that through a simple exercise that I call the air traffic controller practice. You do what an air traffic controller or a pilot does. You just repeat back to the person what they just said to you. And you do this with the intention to understand them and not to create any challenge or escalation. So it would be something like this. Hey, I think what I'm hearing is that you think I'm a jerk and you don't think I'm doing a good job with leadership, and when I cut you off, that's bad and I shouldn't be doing it. Yeah, am I getting you right? Am Am I hearing you? And ideally the person says, yeah. And in that moment, they might realize, oh, okay, I can take a breath. Usually what happens in these moments is two key things. One is the conversation slows down and de-escalates. And that creates the space to really get in there and do some problem solving and understand what's really going on and how can you make a change so that both parties walk away better able to finish their projects and do their jobs. The second thing that happened is you just communicated to this person that it's safe for them to come to you when they're upset. It's safe for them to come to you with their challenges. You have the space for it, and you're not going to counterattack them. You're not going to get defensive. That right there has a huge impact on people's productivity, on their happiness, on their creativity, and just in general, how successful they are in their work or business. So, quick recap: logistics, who, what, examples, when are you going to have the conversation? Skillful delivery is all about taking responsibility for what's going on for you, using I language and emotion words that are actually emotion words. And skillful receipt is about repeating back to the other person what they said without escalating, and using the air traffic controller exercise to create space in the conversation and safety for you to get to the heart of what's really going on. That's what I've got for right now. This is a big topic. If you want to dive deeper into this, or you're a leader who's struggling with some of these things because they don't come naturally to a lot of us, I invite you to send me an email at hello@coachmaximum.com, and we'll dig deeper and see what it's going to take for you to become super skillful in having high stakes conversations so that the rest of your life will be full of ease and flow and joy. Once again, I'm Max Rosenkrantz. Thanks for watching. I'll see you on the next one.